We see lawyers on TV and in movies all the time, right? They're fighting tooth and nail to win, whatever it takes. But what if I told you that winning isn't actually their most important job? See, every single lawyer operates under a really strict, kind of hidden code of conduct. It's like a moral compass that guides every single decision they make. Today, we're going to unlock that code.
So in South Africa, this moral compass has an official name, the Legal Practice Council Code of Conduct. I want you to think of it as the ultimate rule book. And it's not just a bunch of nice suggestions. It is the absolute foundation of the entire legal profession. Every attorney, every advocate, they have to live by this.
And the consequences for breaking these rules, they couldn't be higher. You can be struck off the roll. That's the formal way of saying you lose your license to practice law. You're kicked out of the profession. For good.
So what's the most important rule of all? Well, it all starts right here with a lawyer's very first and highest duty. And here's the surprise. It's not to the client who's paying the bills. It's to the court and to the administration of justice itself. This creates a really interesting tension. A client's goal is usually pretty simple, to win. But a lawyer's ethical duty might mean they have to tell the judge about a previous court case, what's called a precedent, that actually hurts their own argument. It's a perfect example of how, in the end, justice has to trump winning.
Being an officer of the court means a few key things. First, you can never lie to a judge, ever, or knowingly let a witness lie. You also have to uphold the dignity of the court, with how you dress, being on time, and as we just saw, you have to be completely upfront about the law, even if it shoots a hole in your own case.
Okay, so after the court, the very next duty is to the person everyone assumes is number one, the client. And this relationship, it's all built on an incredible, rock-solid level of trust.
This trust actually has a legal name. It's called a fiduciary duty. It's a really powerful idea. It means the lawyer is ethically bound to always act in their client's best interests, coming in second only, of course, to their duty to the court.
Now, a huge piece of this duty is confidentiality. People in the business sometimes call it the vault. Because of a rule called legal professional privilege, pretty much anything a client tells their lawyer in confidence is sealed. It stays right there with the lawyer, totally protected from being disclosed.
And to protect that trust, the rules are crystal clear. A lawyer cannot have a conflict of interest, like representing two people who are suing each other. They can't take on a case where they might personally gain from the outcome. And this one is so important, they have to be honest about their own skills and only take cases they are actually competent enough to handle.
All right, so we've covered the court and the client, but the code also extends outwards from there. It actually governs how lawyers deal with each other and with society as a whole.
The legal system is built to be a fight, but it's not supposed to be a dirty fight. The code demands professional courtesy. Lawyers are specifically told not to snooker their opponents, which is a great way of saying, no trickery, no underhanded tactics to get an unfair advantage.
This all really boils down to integrity. When a lawyer gives their word to another lawyer, it's called an undertaking. And that promise is treated as sacred. It's a binding commitment, and breaking it is a huge ethical violation.
And the circle of duty just keeps getting wider. Lawyers have to act as guardians of the Constitution for all of us. They can never use their special skills to help people break the law. And they're also responsible for their own office. If someone on their staff does something wrong, the lawyer is the one who's held accountable.
Now, this next part is the one that surprises almost everyone. This code of conduct is not a 9-to-5 job. It follows a lawyer absolutely everywhere they go. It's the circle that never, ever ends.
So you have to ask, right? Does a lawyer's ethical duty just switch off when they leave the office for the day? The answer is a very, very firm no.
And that's because of something called the Fit and Proper Person Test. And this test, it applies to both their professional life and their private life. A lawyer is expected to meet this standard 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
The logic behind this is actually pretty simple and clear. If a lawyer is dishonest in their personal life, let's say they commit tax fraud or something, how can the court, their colleagues, or the public possibly trust them to be honest when they're on the clock? The two are seen as completely inseparable.
So after exploring all these different circles of duty, from the inside of a courtroom all the way out to a lawyer's private life, let's bring it all together. Let's look at 5 golden rules that basically summarize this entire hidden code. All right, let's recap those 5 golden rules. First, the duty to the court. Justice always comes before the client. Second, the duty to the client. Always act in their best interest and keep their secrets safe. Third, to colleagues.
Act with professional honor and always keep your promises. Fourth, to the public, uphold the law and the profession's good name. And finally, in their private life, they must remain a fit and proper person, always.
I mean, that is an incredibly demanding ethical framework, governing every single aspect of a lawyer's life. It leaves us with one last big question to think about. If every profession, not just law, was held to a code this strict, how do you think our society might be different?